Budget commanders, hey, I got you, fam. We're gonna do this. We're gonna go through the best commanders you can run on a budget in the game. Okay, I love doing these. I've done these before on the new commanders. I even did it for Sun Tzu. He's obviously gonna be in this list. I'm not only doing it for the late game with all the new commanders we have because it's so hard to have the heads to go max everybody. Hey, early game guys, I got you, bro. I got your back. I'm gonna do it for the early game as you're ramping up commanders in K1 and K2. We're going to talk about all of that right here. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chadsky. I do videos all the freaking time, and I love doing these guides, these nuances, fun things for the game to help give you real rock life application, right? Help you be a better player, better account. And I am a bleeding heart for people in the game who are working their tails off to try to make their account better and trying to figure it out because it's not easy. I get it. And with all these new commanders that have come into the game, and it is just a siege of new commanders, and everybody's trying to figure out, okay, can I run some of these commanders like low budget? Can I run them with, without being able to max them? How do I run them? So we're going to go through all of that. If you enjoy these kind of videos, throw a thumbs up on here, give it a like. These are the videos that I love doing. And if you enjoy it, like I said, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. If you're not subscribed, consider doing so. Doesn't cost you anything. Join all these people who are subscribed to the channel. Also hit that bell if you want to get alerts when I do content like this. Well, let's start with this thing, right? Because I'm staring at BQ, and BQ is really a common commander when it comes to this. He's got a setup to where you can run him budget, right? Luce, maybe not so much because his expertise is so freaking good. So there's all kinds of different commanders you can look at when it comes to this stuff. And so from there, let me pull this off here and get my leadership and infantry off. We want to go through all these commanders and we want to rank them for you. We're going to tell you what's best to run, how to run them, and all that stuff. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing up here and we're going to take a look at it. This is going to be our late game budget commanders. Okay. Late game budget commanders. We're going to do it and we're going to try to figure it out and do it right. All right. So first and foremost, when it comes to this, we got to talk about the commanders that you have to max, okay? It's really, really difficult. If you'll see on here, I don't have all the commanders in here. I don't want all the commanders in here, okay? I'm literally not going to do it for Ragnar and CPO. I don't want to mess with that. I mean, their expertises are good. You got to run those things must max. But I did do it for Huo and Joan, and that's where we'll start. Huo, really good max as a max. You have to have him max. And if you don't have a max, you just don't expertise him. You just get him 5, 5, 5, 5. And that's it. Don't expertise him. People have talked about Huo many, many times. He's a guy that you really, all of his skills and everything he does, you really got to dump everything into it and get him to be max. Attila is a max commander. Gotta max Attila, okay? Especially if you're running rallies and you're doing different things. Attila is a must max. Expertise way, way too strong. Arthur, okay, is a must max commander. Now, let me kind of help you out with Arthur a little bit because a lot of people are like, wait a minute, how is Arthur a must max commander? Is there any way I can run him? And you can kind of get away with it a little bit, but his expertise is just that good. It makes it so much better because you're doing extra combo. This stuff fires off like crazy. It's a lot of damage. And that's if he's primary. If he's secondary, you do an enhancement. Of the skill damage being done, and it's just nuts. It is crazy. It's like an extra proc on the skill damage. It's crazy. And so with that being said, his kit is really, really good with the combo attack damage and the different things like that. You can maybe get away 5515, but you love this. The rage reduction's awesome. And the march speed's kind of okay, but you love the rage reduction. There are other ways to run him, but man, I'm telling you, he's like he's a must max commander. We know that, but he's also a commander you want to make sure and have max. Okay. Trust me, this will get a little bit more interesting interesting. Phillip, same way. He's a max. You get the best value out of Phillip if he's max, because he does that extra proc of the active skill, either of the primary or him, or if he's primary, you want to make sure you got a 40% chance to do that, and then a 20% chance. So you got like a 60% chance to fire off one of the active skills of him or his partner every single time. He's got to be max to do that. Then you've got Luce. Okay, we talked about Luce briefly. You just got to max this guy. What makes Luce so good? What makes Luce so good? And again, I'm not telling everybody these are must-max commanders. I'm just telling them this is how you have to run them to give a little distinguishment from the other ones. What makes him so good is this thing right here, okay? It makes his instant procs better. It makes the equipment tier 5 stuff better. It makes your procs off of armaments better. It makes the procs off of the possibility chances on the skills of him or the commander he's with. That's why Luce and Alex work well. Luce and Phillip work well. Luce works extremely well with any commander that has any sort of instant procs, and that's why he's a commander that you've got to just try to make sure and max him, okay? So now we're going to get into the 5515 commanders. Okay, here's where you can go with this, okay? Follow me here and don't freak out. William Wallace, I'm going to put in here, okay? I'm going to put Achilles here. Now, you might see Achilles in 2 spots, but I'm going to put Achilles in here, and I'm going to put Chen in here. You might see Chen in 2 spots, and I'll get to Chen in a second because he's really, really unique, okay? So with that, let's come into the game here, and let's look at William Wallace, shall we? William Wallace at 5511 is pretty good. You get all of the benefit of his expertise. So it's not enhanced by his or all the benefit of his first skill. It's not enhanced by his expertise, which is always really good, right? Then he's got great stat sticks here, okay? This is 60% of stats. That's really, really high. Plus, you gotta have the march speed with Wallace. You get into this thing and it changes a little bit, okay? This commander troop takes 10% less normal damage. That's a good tanky little thing there, but it's not like imperative that you have to have that. Even at level 1 at 2%, it's fine, okay? You don't necessarily have to have that. This is the thing you gotta have, okay? And the beauty with this third skill is that even at level 1, it's a 20% increase to the smite damage, all right? Which is really, really good. 40% is even better, but that's something that you can get value at the first level, okay? The same thing here. 10% smite, 10% normal damage isn't amazing. It's not like the best 4 skill ever. It's not even like really S tier or even A+ tier. It's like an A-, B+ tier 4 skill, and you still get half the benefit of the smite damage bonus at level 1. Now you pretty much lose all the benefit of the normal damage bonus at level 1, but from that standpoint, you can go run him 5511, okay? If you're sitting there and you're stuck and you're trying to run 3 smite marches, right? William Wallace is getting a rebirth, obviously, with our boy Sun Tzu. And since he is, you might like go run him 5511 behind Sun Tzu. If it's Sun Tzu's expertise, that thing's going to crack off. I mean, it's really going to do well. And so from that standpoint, that's a 5511 situation, okay? Let me find Achilles. Achilles here as well. Big AoE damage. Holy geez, not mitigated by the expertise. And then his second skill, tons 70% of stats. Great stat stick for his second skill, okay? His third skill, the expertise on it is a little bit different, okay? Now, you can get this and you still get decent bonuses here on when that third skill, I've got to pull it up over here on the expertise, when that third skill is only level 1. And that damage factor ramps up higher when it's not expertise, right? You got to get more damage. Well, you're basically throwing the Hephaestion army out, or armor out the window. Like you're not gonna make that fire off very often at level 1 on his third skill, which is fine. You're looking for the big damage and you're looking for the stat stick. And then you got his fourth skill, all right, which is you're gonna deal 2% more normal damage at level 1, but the rage gain speed, you get half the value of that. The cavalry attack bonus, you get half the value of that. Okay, it's not a busted good 4 skill, it's just really, really good. And we'll come back to that here in a few, but you can run that 5511. Now, Chen is not necessarily 5511. I recommend Chen to run 1551. and see if you can get the second and third skill to fire off. If you're just gonna max 2 skills, the second skill and the third skill is what I recommend, and you can go run that. Trust me, it'll work. That's how powerful this guy is. So that kind of gives you your idea of these commanders at that 5511 level, but I didn't have a category for 1551, so I just put Shin in this category, and you can see kind of how that works. Now, let's go to the 5515 category, okay? This is how this is going to work. Number one, you got Joan. We all know Joan. You can skip the third skill, go to the fourth, and if you get that fourth skill expertise, then you get the probability for her extra proc on her active skill. Really, really good. And so I've got Huo and Joan in here. You're welcome. Those of you people who have still yet to go with a 2 combo setup, you can still run that, and you can do Joan 5515. Then I brought Wallace back up here. Let's go back and revisit Wallace, okay? Now we're cooking a little bit with Wallace if we're going to get that fourth skill going. Wallace is, let me see, where is he? 5511 is fine, but then this fourth skill, you start ramping that up to do more normal damage, and it works out really, really well. And so you can get with him and 5515 and you're okay. You skip this skill, you're gonna be just fine, and you can roll. You can also run him 5515, okay, and still have half the benefit there, small benefit there, and get that third skill going. And so with that, honestly, I'd probably rather just have that third skill, okay? And so from there, I'm gonna move him up, all right? I've got the liberty to do that. It's my video. I'm going to do it. I can do whatever I want. David 5515. Okay, we've talked about David, all right? If you're working on David, or there's many players I know who got David from MGE, but they're not even a cap garrison. They're like, Chadsky, I'm just like the best fighter. I went and earned MGE on the kill event because we were fighting in KVK, or they just gave me an MGE spot. Getting him 5515, he will go cook a bit in the field, mainly because he puts this massive debuff down. All right, his third skill doesn't even work in the field, so you don't even have to worry about it. But a 5515 David works out really, really well, okay? And so from that standpoint, that gives you a low budget situation and you're gonna be fine. You're cooking a little bit there, okay? Now, let's go into the next commander outside of David. Hector 5515. I've talked about Hector many, many times when it comes to him. If you're kind of trying to figure out, or you're working on Hector, you're getting his heads from the sovereign keys, and you decided you're going to go max him, but maybe you made a mistake and you went ahead and got some skills max, but you don't have him expertise. You can skip this third skill. Okay, you can skip it. It's got a 10-second cooldown, which I don't love. You can get half the normal damage reduction benefit at level 1. The damage increase comes down to 5%, but again, that's all part of that 10-second cooldown that you really don't need. And so from there, you can skip that altogether, go right to his 4 skill, which is crazy. Okay, his 4 skill is amazing. If you're running him with combo behind Arthur, you're running him behind BQ or Luce for smite and infantry, you get 20% more normal damage. More and more people are running him behind Zuge and using him for skill damage, and you get a 30% bonus to skill damage. Okay, and there's high uptime on this, guys, because you got a 5-second uptime on this with a 7-second downtime. So it works out really, really well. You can run him 5515, okay? So this is your late game budget. Don't worry, early game players. I'll get to you guys in a bit. I've just got to go do this. And then number 1 here at 5515 is Sun Tzu. I've done a dedicated video for this. Sun Tzu's so powerful, y'all. Him at 5515, and I don't even have an expertise on my main. That comes in a couple of weeks, okay? But you obviously get the massive damage here, and you get 20% of that smite damage done as fixed true damage to the AoE, right? He's got a crazy, and I mean crazy stat stick, 75% of stats on his second skill. Here's what's interesting about his third skill. You get half the defense bonus at level 1. Okay, you get half the smite damage bonus at level 1, and you get half the smite damage factor at level 1. And you don't even care about the damage factor because you just want to fire this thing off so you can do his 4th skill, the important skill. Okay, you take 10% less damage, amazing. You do 20 rage every time he fires off his fixed true damage AoE. Okay, however many targets you hit, you get 20 rage off of that, and the probability on that goes to 100%. Okay, and so from that standpoint, it works out exceptionally well to get him 5515 and go cook with him. He is so good. And I'll come back to that because I'm actually going to rank these after I'm all said and done with this. Okay, and so there you go. You got Sun Tzu there. Now let's get on to the next round. 5515. Zue, you could run 5515. You peel off the marquee effect on his fourth skill. I don't necessarily recommend running him 5515. He's a weaker commander at 5515, but you can still go do that. Okay. Let's bring in BQ. Really good commander, 551 or 5551. He is exceptional. Okay. So when we come into BQ, he's so overpowered, and a lot of players who were running this, we were just telling players, just get him 5551 and go run him. He's going to be better than Luce and Alex with Luce. He's going to be better than William Wallace with Luce. Just get him 5551. And here's why. Big time damage, okay? And it's not affected by the expertise, right? You come over, his expertise is actually lacking. That's part of the reason why he's really good at 5551. He's got great stat sticks. Then this is the malice stacks. You want to do this. You want to do the severely wounds inflicted. You want to make sure you're running 300 smite, and you want the rage gain to go. Okay, that's important. All right, his fourth skill is good, but you can get half the value of the normal damage that he deals. All right, and then you get 1% bonus to the smite damage dealt, and it's up to 30%, so you can stack that up 6 times. All right, and you can max that out to 6%, but at the same time, getting half the value of the normal damage is just great. You still get the 10 stacks of malice entering combat, and for every 10 stacks of malice, every time you lose 10% of units, you get 10 more stacks of mouse. None of that changes, and that's why the fourth skill is really pretty valuable at level 1, and that's what gives BQ a really good option. Okay, so now we come up here and we're looking at the next commander. All right, let's go in. That would be our boy Achilles, 5551. We've talked about Achilles before. He's a 5511 commander, but he's so powerful you can also run him obviously 5551. Okay, and his third skill is really good. When it's not expertise, this is what you got to deal with. All right, but you still get the 5% less damage. All right, now the only difference here is to get his Ephesian armor to fire off and trigger his active skill again. That damage factor he's taking the damage factor goes from 3,000. Okay, it's up from 2,500 on his expertise, but it's still really good. The reason why is because this fourth skill, it works out pretty well. It's nothing really crazy. Okay, you get a 2% more normal damage bonus. All right, but then you get a rage gain speed of 5% as opposed to 10%, so you still get good value out of that fourth skill at level 1, and that's why we see our boy get a good nod at 5551. Then you got Gang, and then you got Chin. Okay, I'm going to put those two up here, and we're going to talk about Gang and Chin. All right, let me pull these down. Let me go in here. When it comes to Gang, all right, love his active skill, 3,000 damage factor. Okay, he's got this really good stat stick for his second skill, 10% damage reduction. That's awesome. The march speed for calves, I really don't care too much about, but the cavalry defense bonus of 30%, very tanky. His third skill, okay, you're going to do 15% more normal damage. Awesome. And then the damage converted to healing is really important. Okay, that's what makes him really good, because he does that healing off of that third skill. All right, and so you max that out, and then you come over here to his fourth skill. The reason why I like it 5551 with Gang is because you get half the benefit here at level 1. Okay, you still got a 30% chance, but just to reduce the target's defense to 20% for 5 seconds instead of 40%. So it's still good value, still really good value. And then obviously you got his expertise over here, where you actually do a little bit more damage and you get more stat sticks, and you get a little bit of an increase to the healing from the third skill. But 5551 Gang will work, trust me. Okay, I know a lot of people will say, like, hey, scuffed commanders or low budget commanders, they just don't work in the game anymore. Well, yeah, they do. They 100% do. And the reason why is because some of these commanders are so freaking broken that they work when they're low budget. All right. Chin, we've talked about 5551 Chin. Amazing. Amazing. He's just that powerful. You can either run him 551, then you could run him 5551, or you could run him 1555. However you want to do it. That's what makes Chin so broken. He is so good when it comes to this, okay? So as we come in here and we're trying to kind of figure this thing out, we want to know out of those commanders now, we want to know what the budget tier list is. Okay, so I'm going to type this in, budget tier list, and we're going to do this all real time, all right? And then I'm going to pull this up and this up, budget tier list. All right, now I'm going to go rank them based on their budget situation, okay? And when I go rank them, you guys will understand kind of how this works. First of all, I talked about Zuge, not great. Not great. You kind of want to get him expertise, but running him 5551 is okay. Then I've got William Wallace and I've got Achilles at the B tier. All right. You would rather get these guys maxed, but they do serve a purpose. The 5511 situation you can run with either one of them is good. And then you run them at the suggested level I told you to. Okay. Then at the A tier, Joan is great at the A tier. She really is. Now that's comparable to herself, right? Now I'm not comparing her necessarily to everybody else because she's not near as powerful as everybody else. But as far as the value you get from her kit, it is A value. It is really good at 5515. Then I've got Hector and then I've got David. Really good benefit, okay? At 5515 and then 5515 and then BQ at 5551. Amazing. He's great. He heads it up. He almost got to the S tier. The two S tiers, Chen and Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is the best low budget commander in the game, partly because he's so powerful. Chen is right next to him as the second best low budget commander in the game, partly because he's so freaking powerful. That's why. You can go run those guys at certain criteria and you will have a blast and be able to go compete at the highest level. So get a picture. That's what we're looking at for the value of this and how we're going to run these things. I didn't put the max commanders in here. The ones that you got to max, you can see them over here. I didn't put any of these in here. I just ranked the rest of these guys. And that's how it comes out. Sun Tzu, Chen, amazing. S tier at a low budget. BQ, amazing. Really, really good. Not S tier, but really good. David, 5515. You can put him in the field and have a AoE, three combo AoE and hammer away. Same thing with Hector. Really, really good at 5515. And then, of course, Joan. And then Achilles and Wallace, not ideal, but they're still good value. And then Zuge, really need to get him max. So that's kind of your tier list when it comes to the best value that you get out of budget commanders, okay? Now we're on to the early game for you guys. Poor early game guys. I got you, man. I got you. We're going to go budget early game, and this is how we're going to do this thing, okay? Let me pull this thing up, and this is how we have the budget early game set up, okay? Let me pull these down, and we'll go through them kind of one by one, all right? This is one of those things that you get into. These are commanders that you're going to get, like, you're going to get heads for through the gold keys. You're going to do them in K1. You're going to be able to get some heads in K2, and this is how you can run these types of commanders, okay? First and foremost, Ethel at 5511, okay? Ethel is great at 5511. All right. And let me kind of help explain why Ethel's really good, because you're going to get Ethel through the expedition. All right. You don't realize this. Those of us that have been playing this game for a very, very long time, you do the expedition and you go get as many, of the levels as you can. Then you get those chests every day and you can get 3 of her heads every day. Every single day. And then you can also get heads from the chests. Let me show you. I'll just show you how it works. You're going to collect those chests based on the level that you have, and then you click on it, you get heads for Ethel. So when you're going into K1, you're not going to have enough gold heads or enough Ethel heads to get her maxed, okay? And so you want to run her on a budget situation because you're going to have heads for her no matter what. So why not? Let's go run her, okay? Level 5, she does really good damage. She does not have a mitigation here, so she'll do 4,000 damage total to 5 targets. And then she's got one of the best debuffs in the game, guys. Even at the end game, if you told me a commander came out with an attack, defense, and health reduction debuff of 30%, even for only 2 seconds, yeah, we would say that's meta debuff, okay? You've got the second skill, 20% less counterattack damage, and when you launch a basic attack, you have a 10% chance to reduce the target's cavalry units by 50% for 3 seconds. She does that mitigation on a slow when it comes to march speed of the target. So you can catch a lot of, you can go 5-5-1-1-1 and be okay. This is just a damage to barbarians and experience. You don't even need that. And then the second one's a rally. So you go 5-5-1-1, and then when you get enough heads for her, just keep working on her and get her max. But you can go run her in K1 at 5-5-1-1. 100% you can go run Ethel in K1 at 5-5-1-1 for you early game guys, okay? Also, the next one we have, let me see here, is our boy Thutmose at 5-5-1-1. Thutmose, and I'll come in here and look at this for you. Thutmose is exceptional in the early game. Gold Key Commander, you can get him early. His direct damage is okay, nothing crazy, all right? But he does it to 3 enemy troops, okay? So you're gonna ramp up a little bit of that damage, and then he mitigates healing. The reason why this is important, is because you're seeing a lot of Richards in the game, in the early game. And when you see a lot of Richards in the early game, that is something that is great to be able to reduce the healing that those targets get. He's got really good stat sticks, 10% march speed, 15% attack, 15% damage bonus. Look at that, 15% more damage outside of territory. Now I know it's K1, but that's really, really good. His third skill, you're able to get 4% of the 10% at level 1, all right? And then you're able to take skill damage taken at 5%. So you're okay to still run him at 5-5-1-1. You could even run him 5-5-5-1, okay? So from there, it's really good because at the beginning of the game, guys, everybody does skill damage. Not very many commanders do smite or combo. So this is still really, really valuable. I just don't like the 8-second cooldown. His fourth skill, you do 4% less counterattack damage that you take, which is okay. I'm not a big fan of the less counterattack damage unless it's a rally or a garrison. And then whenever you hit with a basic attack, you still get this 10% chance and you can do 300 damage factor. All right. Now getting that to level 5 is great for 700. And then his expertise, you're going to take 5% less damage from infantry units. And then when you use an active skill, you gain a 30% bonus to normal damage, which is okay. I mean, it kicks back some counterattack damage, but he's not like a smite commander. It's not really going to bonus anything too much. So the expertise is kind of meh. But at that value of a 5-5-1-1 value, he's really, really good. So you got Thutmose in there, and that will work out really, really well. I also have Alex in there. He is really good. His first skill plus his second skill make him really, really powerful in the early game. You can run him 5-5-1-5, okay? The main thing that you miss on Alex when it comes to it, let me see. Where's our boy Alex? He's around here somewhere. There he is. You're going to do the 1700 damage factor on his second skill. That's awesome. That's an instant proc damage factor. And in the early game in K2, that is fantastic. All right. And he's also got that healing reduction, which starts hammering the Richards and things like that. His active skill is enhanced by the expertise. The only thing you gain from the expertise perhaps is the best debuff in the game. 3 enemy targets take 30% more damage for 4 seconds. That is an insane debuff still to this day, but you still get the benefit of the shield, okay? And you get a benefit of putting a shield on the lowest HP march that's around you. So he helps protect others. All right, 5-5-1-1, okay? The march speed bonus, you can get it 10%. All right. Now we might see him later because this is a really good skill too, but he's so powerful in K2 that you can literally go 5-5-1-1. And then his fourth skill, you get half the bonus or half the benefit of the attack bonus, and you get 10% of the defense bonus. So it's okay whether you have a shield or not. You don't have a shield the majority of the time, so the attack bonus getting 20% is really pretty good. So there's your Arthur situation. Another one I wanted to look at here for the early game. Where is my Richard? He's around here somewhere. There he is. This guy, you can run Richard with this healing factor because you're going to be able to maybe spin the wheel for him. And I think he's actually in the gold keys now again. Then you get a damage reduction on his second skill. That's great. Real tanky. Early game, K1. Counterattack damage bonus is really good. Then he's got the infantry attack and defense bonus in the third skill. And then this is his fourth skill where he receives increased 30% healing. Okay, that's good. But then this other part doesn't mean anything. You don't care about watchtowers. You're not hitting cities with Richard. I mean, come on. The other part of this is his expertise. You take 5% less damage. All right. And then you're going to deal 2% more damage to cavalry units. That's not much. Whenever the troop launches a basic attack, it reduces the target's march speed. This is super important. Okay, but it's more important kind of for the late game because really you're just running Richard in and you're going to tank, man. You're going to tank. His slow is really, really good. It's an instant slow, but the cooldown of 10 seconds, you can go without. You can literally run this guy 5-5-5-1 and you'll still be okay. So wanted to put Richard in there, make sure everybody understood that you don't need to go max this guy for him to be serviceable in the early game. So we'll put Richard at 5-5-5-1. I'll put them up here at the top. All right. The 5-5-1-5 commanders are going to be Mulan, Martel, YSG, okay, Pyrrhus, and Mehmed. Now let me go through them all real quick. There's obvious reasons why you want to run them 5-5-1-5, okay? And let me pull up my Mulan here. Her third skill is an experience bonus. This is when you're attacking barbarians. She's got one of the best buffs in the game, which is great. If it's not expertise, you gain 15% attack, defense, and health, and 25% march speed. Okay, that's really, really good in a murder ball fight. Her second skill, 5% less damage. Okay, and when you get hit with the basic attack, you get a 20% chance to reduce the attacker's rage by 100. Okay, now we're seeing a lot of rage mitigation going on in the late game. Well, she had this in the early game. Skip the third skill, fourth skill. You gain 20% attack, and you're serving as a secondary commander. When you use an active skill, it increases the target's damage received by 20% for 3 seconds. That's fantastic. That's great. So you can use Mulan as you're getting her in gold keys at 5-5-1-5. You can use that K1, K2, and it will work out just fine. Okay, let's go to the infantry because we talked about Martel. We've got our boy here, same thing here. Really, really good stats, okay? You're getting 1,200 damage factor on a shield, but then he's got a great 30% bonus to damage dealt for 4 seconds. So you go put Sun Tzu behind him, and I mean epic Sun Tzu. That is like one of the staple K1 marches. Everybody running K1 march. You start with China. You get Sun Tzu max as fast as possible because he does a lot of damage, 4,000 damage factor. All right. And it's not mitigated. And you also do an additional 200 damage factor, but you get the bonus of the all damage from that with Martel. Great first skill. Second skill is an enhancement from the expertise, but it's 15% defense and 15% health. Very tanky skills in K1 and K2. Third skill, this is if you're going to garrison with them. So we're not. We're going to run them in the field, 5-5-1-5, and then I love the fourth skill, 30% more counterattack damage. So not only is he tanky with the shield and the stats, he's also kicking back damage like crazy, okay? Really, really good for the early game. And you have Martel 5-5-1-5, okay? Now we're going to talk about YSG, all right? YSG is a commander everybody's going to start working on early in the game, all right? Even if you want to run him up, you can decide to keep him expertise and run him with Chin in the late game, or you can swap him. But 5-5-1-5, because everybody forgets he's a garrison commander. That's what's so crazy about this. But his fourth skill is off the freaking charts, y'all. Oh my gosh. Those of you who actually spend a little money and get Mina, you can earn YSG with Mina, and that Mina skill is crazy with 50% more skill damage. So you don't do a circle AoE, okay? And you only do 1400 damage factor, but it's still so much damage factor in the early game. All right, you do it in a fan shape, you still hit 5 targets, he's still very effective. Second skill, it's a rage generator, and the archer attack bonus is fantastic as well. So you can run him as you're working on him 5-5-1-5 and go cook. All right, so now let's talk about Pyrus. Where's our boy? Where is our boy Pyrus? Okay, 5-5-1-5, and the reason why, he's got good direct damage, and for the next 3 seconds, you deal 20% more normal damage. He is a great partner with CJ. Just remember that in the early game. Great partner, because CJ is the only commander that does smite in the early game. His second skill, health bonus 10%, march speed bonus 15%, normal damage bonus another 20%. Pyrus and CJ might be the best K1 or K2 march in the game. Like, it is crazy how good that thing is. All right, now you come to his third skill. I'm not too keen on this. You get half the benefit at level 1, and the shield, you get 250. You get half the benefit of the shield, but that's not it. The main thing is the fourth skill. All right, you're going to deal 10% more damage if you have a shield. Well, if you have a shield, no matter what the shield factor is, they give you the shield for 3 seconds. So this lasts 3 seconds, regardless of if the shield is still intact or not. It's just a 3-second bonus because the shield tells you for 3 seconds. So you don't even care if it's 250. You're going to get that bonus to all damage dealt of 10%. And then the skill damage reduction of 20% is amazing in K1, and it's amazing in K2 because so many commanders do skill damage. All right, so from that standpoint, you love Pyrus at 5-5-1-5. And the last of the 5-5-1-5 commanders is going to be our boy Mehmed, okay? Mehmed, bunch of damage, 1,350 damage, okay? Wait a minute. 1,150 damage when it's not expertise, but you're hitting 5 targets, y'all. He does a ton of damage. And if you're city rallying, he does extra damage for that. This is what makes him work, okay? 20% attack bonus, 20% skill damage bonus for his big skill. So you can go put him with YSG. You can go put him behind Mina. You can go put him behind CC. You can go put him behind other commanders that do big skill damage, either single target or AoE, and he's cooking. That's why that skill damage bonus is good. Third skill, you launch a basic attack against a city. You're not rallying a city, you're using him for the field. So we go to his fourth skill. You get 10% unit capacity, and here's another rally situation. So at a 5-5-1-1, he is really, really good. Okay, and that's how you run your Mehmed. And in fact, I've got to make sure and pull Mehmed down here to the 5-5-1-1 location. So that's what you got for the 5-5-1-1. Mehmed 5-5-1-1 is good. Then your 5-5-1-5, you've got Pyrrhus, you got YSG, and you got Martel, okay, along with Mulan. Now, for the 5-5-5-1, we've talked about Richard. We've also got Alex, because we love that extra buff that Alex has when you have a shield, when you don't have a shield. It's really, really good. And so from there's CJ. Let's go. Bertrand and Saladin. Okay, these are all early game commanders. Everybody knows about Saladin 5-5-5-1. Let's talk about this, because those of us old players know this all too well. Okay, when you talk about CJ, you're going to look at him and you're going to say, okay, what's the benefit? His third skill is amazing. First skill is awesome with smite damage, okay? The second skill has great march speed. Well, it's good. It's not great, but the attack bonus of 40%. And then his third skill is wonderful because without the expertise, it is a tanky skill, okay? You're going to take any skill damage, smite, or combo. So all the skill damage you're going to be taking, you got a 50% chance to mitigate that damage by 50%. Very tanky, especially in the early game. His fourth skill, you can get 5% more normal damage bonus, and then you get a 50% chance to trigger the cleanse that he does. Not a very powerful skill. That's why the third skill is actually pretty good. So you like CJ at 5-5-5-1. Then you got Bertrand. I don't really like Bertrand. I don't think he's worth getting, but those of you cab junkies who want to get him, You can get his active skill to tier 5. He's got good stat sticks in the sense that he's got a damage reduction with March speed, but nothing crazy. I mean, you're 10%, not really great. His third skill is really good. Okay, while outside of Alliance territory, you're going to do 10% more normal damage, which enhances his combo damage. All right, and then you've got a 25% chance to launch a basic or a combo attack. It's a damage factor of 400. The cooldown's 10 seconds, but it's really good. It will do a lot of damage, all right, especially in K2, okay? His fourth skill, when he's a field troop and you deal combo damage, you have a 40% chance to increase the rage requirement of the target's active skill by 200. That's making the target, they have to get to a 1200 active or a rage requirement to fire off their active skill. That's really good. However, here's the benefit. At level 1, you got a 20% probability, which is still pretty good, especially when you're doing combo attacks, okay? Because you're doing a lot of them. You got instant procs for them, but you can still get half the benefit of that and increase the rage requirement to 100 instead of 200. So you still get good value and you drain the rage of 10 instead of 20. So you're like getting half the value at level 1, and that's why you can run Burt 5551. Okay, so you guys that are pulling these gold key commanders, you can start working on some of these commanders and using them. And in the early game, especially K1 and 2, you can do really well with them. And then Saladin, probably the most famous 5551 commander in the game. He does, let's see, 1400 damage factor, and he does his slow and the healing. He is like the anti-Richard, right? He does all that stuff, which is always pretty good in the early game. He's got 20% defense, 20% attack. You don't care about the march speed. Then this is what makes him really cook in K2, because most all commanders are skill damage commanders. You take 30% less skill damage, okay? And then 20% less counterattack damage, which is okay, but nothing crazy. The skill damage mitigation is awesome. All right. Then his fourth skill, not really that big of a deal. It's when you're attacking a city, you do 15% more damage, but you can't plunder the city. So you don't even want to attack cities with this guy because you can't even take the resources. But he does do a little bit of damage there. But he has been one of the most famous 5551 commanders in the game. You used to be able to run him and William, both 5551. It was so low budget and so good. And his expertise just ranks up the damage and a little bit more march speed mitigation and healing mitigation here, but still really, really good, especially early in the game. So that gives you that lineup when it comes to the different types of commanders and what you can run them at in the early game. So, figured we'd do that for you guys. You early game guys, we wanted to do it for you, and we will cook with it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you would, please be so kind, give us a like. Takes a lot to do these types of videos and talk about it. You can skip around to this video wherever you want. Love you guys, appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys all have a great day, broskies.